Whether you're a hardcore Skyrim fan and have spent hundreds of hours exploring the game's vast world, or you've spent just enough time with the RPG to finish its excellent story, you've probably missed a few of the hidden secrets scattered throughout Bethesda's fantasy masterpiece. Skyrim's list of voice actors will stun you. Among the actors credited for bringing the game's NPCs to life are Michael Hogan, Christopher Plummer, Robin Atkin Downes, Linda Carter, and Jim Cummings. That last guy's best known as the voice of Winnie the Pooh. There's one more cast member that may surprise you: Charles Martinet, one of the most cherished voices in the video game industry. Martinet is best known as the voice of Nintendo's Mario. He voiced Mario since 1990, when Nintendo hired him for a trade show, and made his debut in 1992's Mario Teaches Typing. He's voiced the character in countless Mario-related games since. In Skyrim, Martinet is the voice of the mythical dragon Paarthurnax, the leader of the Greybeards whom the Dragonborn must visit throughout the game for guidance and quests.
Drem Yolok, greetings, Wunderneek. I am Paarthurnax.
Martinet obviously provides a much deeper voice for Paarthurnax than Mario's cartoonish Italian accent, but could you imagine if he didn't?
Let's go!
There's no denying that Bethesda put an incredible amount of detail into Skyrim in order to create a living, breathing game world. From the stunning vistas to the countless zany, spooky, and heroic NPCs that populate the land of Skyrim, you can get lost just taking the whole experience in. That said, there's so much content in the box that even if you pay a lot of attention to the most minute details, there are bound to be a few things you missed. For one, you probably didn't notice the Thieves Guild's secret language carved around towns and cities. You can find these carvings, known as shadow marks, all over the game. Used as a sort of symbolic shorthand by the guild, shadow marks are meant to help players identify certain aspects of a building. For example, there are symbols that mean that danger or loot awaits the player inside a building if he chooses to enter or break in. There are also symbols for empty, safe, and guild-controlled buildings. If you keep track of shadow marks, they could make exploration and thievery much easier the next time around. Skyrim has no shortage of scary moments. After all, there are enough dark caves, undead corpses, cannibals, witches, poltergeist trolls, and giants to keep your heart pumping for most of your playtime. But these scary places and creatures of the night are nothing compared to the true terror you'll feel when you encounter Skyrim's most unexpected ghost, the Headless Horseman. Not exactly the supernatural being from the classic Washington Irving tale, The Legend of Sleepy Hollow, this Headless Horseman is actually totally harmless, but that doesn't make him any less scary. Especially as he watches you while sitting on his ghostly steed, staring you down until you've passed him by. Players can encounter the Headless Horseman riding around the map between 10 PM and 4 AM, but you'll most likely find him at the ancient Nordic ruin of Hamvia's Rest. Depending on his mood, he may let you approach him or he may ride off into the night, never to be seen again. One of the most iconic aspects of the Skyrim experience is its instantly recognizable theme song, which takes melodies from past Elder Scrolls games and adds drums and a choir, introducing a more Nordic sound to the epic opening track. But there's even more going on in Dragonborn, which was composed by Jeremy Soule, who'd previously worked on the soundtracks for the Elder Scrolls 3, Morrowind, and the Elder Scrolls 4, Oblivion. You see, the lyrics sung in Dragonborn aren't in English. You probably figured that out on your own, but ever wonder what language is being spoken in the song? It's in fact a fictional language created by Bethesda called Dovah, which roughly translates to dragon voice.
What are they singing? They're singing this song in the dragon language to the theme of Elder Scrolls.
That's right, the lyrics are written in a fake dragon language. Most impressive is the fact that if you translate the lyrics, they rhyme in both Dovah and English. Unsurprisingly, Skyrim has its fair share of Easter eggs hidden throughout the game world. There's a Pac-Man reference, for example, in Enden's house in Markarth. There's also nods to the horror movie Poltergeist, the action film 300, and even The Legend of Zelda. One of the game's most notable Easter eggs has to do with Minecraft, the popular sandbox title that rose to fame around the time of Skyrim's release in 2011. According to Eurogamer, players can encounter this particular Easter egg, a pickaxe called Notched Pickaxe, or traveling in the Throat of the World region of Skyrim. The Easter egg is a nod to both Marcus Notch Persson, the creator of Minecraft, and the sandbox game's iconic tool. Okay, so you've defeated Alduin, the World Eater, and restored peace in Skyrim, at least a little. Now what do you do? Well, you could finish the dozens of quests you probably never actually got around to, or you could go hunt down Skyrim's secret bosses. Hidden in the hard-to-find places around the map, there are a few monsters left to slay before your journey is over. There's the Thurial, a powerful dragon that lives in a mystical cave called Blackreach. To initiate the fight, which is anything but easy, you'll have to use your unrelenting force shout on a strange glowing sphere hanging from the ceiling. The Reaper is basically what you think it is, death itself come to collect your soul. The messed up part is that you have to summon him yourself by collecting 3 gem fragments and performing a ritual with the gem at the Reaper's lair. So if you really want to fight the vomit-spewing creature, you're gonna have to work for it, you masochist. Karstag the Frost Giant is a callback to a character from Morrowind, who ruled Castle Karstag. If you find his skull in Skyrim and place it back on his throne in the ruins of the old castle, you'll face off with the ghost of Karstag, who is level 90 and will absolutely wreck you. And then, well, there's the Ebony Warrior. You've played through Skyrim's story, explored every town on the map, discovered its many secrets, and reached the hard-earned level 80. Now what? Don't just fly away into the sunset just yet. Even if you've basically finished the game, there's still one last challenge for you to face: the Ebony Warrior.
You are my last challenge. Only you can send me to Sovngarde with honor.
This incredibly powerful Redguard warrior approaches you in the game once you've reached level 80 to challenge you to a duel. Up until this point, the Ebony Warrior has been able to defeat all those who stand against him, with a mix of melee skills and magic powers. He even knows a few dragon shouts. Needless to say, he's the most difficult adversary you'll face in the game. You'll likely die a few times, as this mysterious warrior uses every trick in the book to defeat you. He has armor that can minimize damage, a bow that has the power to paralyze you for several seconds, and the power to restore his own health with magic. Manage to finally send him to Sovngarde, and you'll have truly accomplished an incredible feat. You may remember Sheogorath as the Daedric Prince of Madness from Oblivion.
I've been waiting for you! Or someone like you. Or someone other than you for some time. I need a champion, and you've got the job!
As the champion of Cyrodiil in that game, you enter Sheogorath's realm to defeat him. In the process, you discover that Sheogorath was actually once Jiggalag, the Daedric Prince of Order, but he was cursed by the other Daedra out of jealousy, thus transformed into madness incarnate. The champion can end Jiggalag's curse by defeating him in battle. Doing so frees Jiggalag, but there's a catch: the champion becomes the new Sheogorath. At least that's been the popular theory since a new Sheogorath appeared in Skyrim. As the Dragonborn, you encounter the Mad God while he's on vacation inside the mind of an insane emperor, Pelagius III.
That's right! You're in the head of a dead, homicidally insane monarch!
During your meeting, Sheogorath recounts many of the events that took place in Oblivion, mentioning people and places the champion of Cyrodiil encountered during the previous game. This has led many to believe that this Sheogorath is in fact the player character from Oblivion, a neat little bit of continuity by Bethesda if this theory is true. While one of Skyrim's biggest draws is a chance to hunt down dragons around the world, you may not be fighting dragons at all. Some fans believe Bethesda got its mythical creatures mixed up. It all has to do with the number of limbs they have in the game. Traditionally, dragons have 6 limbs, 4 legs and 2 wings. This is not the case in Skyrim, which features dragons with only 2 back legs and 2 wings. That's 4 limbs. The creature that terrorizes the land of Skyrim are actually wyverns, another serpent-like monster. This shouldn't ruin the experience for you, of course. It seems that The Elder Scrolls isn't the only franchise to get the dragon-wyvern distinction wrong. Game of Thrones also got it wrong. So did the Hobbit films. Poor wyverns. They just don't get the respect they deserve. Oh well, maybe The Elder Scrolls 6 will do right by them. But honestly, it probably won't.
I mean, that's the story of my life. No respect. I don't get no respect at all. Are you kidding?
There's plenty to do at the College of Winterhold, which has its share of quests to complete and colourful characters to meet. But if stopping Ancano and retrieving the Staff of Magnus from Labyrinthian isn't enough for you, there's one last adventure you might have missed. In fact, the quest probably went in one ear and out the other without you even realising it.
The first thing to understand is that magic is, by its very nature, volatile and dangerous.
The Missing Apprentices is a quest that didn't actually make it into the finished version of the game. It can't actually be activated and there's no way to complete it for a reward. Still, it's a curiosity that sparks a journey to find 4 apprentices who have gone missing. The quest, which leads you to the corpses of 4 ill-fated students who weren't quite ready to try their magic skills beyond the walls of the magic school, is rather grim and monotonous. But you do get a few pieces of loot out of it, such as a couple of new spells, a necklace, and some weapons. If you'd like to go on this unofficial quest, talk to Conjuration Maester Phineas Gester at the College of Winterhold. He'll fill you in about all the deets. The abandoned prison at Eastmarch might not be filled with a ton of baddies, but that doesn't mean it won't scare the pants off even the ever-courageous Dragonborn. Located northwest of Fort Amel by the White River, this creepy prison is a monument to the prisoners who died during a storm. There isn't much action to be found in the abandoned prison, but you will discover some loot. When you enter, you'll encounter 4 ghosts, none of which pose much of a threat. Along the way, you'll find 2 notes that reveal what happened at the prison and why it was abandoned. Basically, the guards planned to evacuate the prison before a big storm hit, leaving the prisoners locked in their cells to drown. But the prisoners had their own plan to overpower the guards and to make their escape during the panic. While we don't know who managed to escape, or if they fared much better once outside in the storm, we do know that the struggle claimed at least a few lives, and the resulting ghosts are ticked off. It's not that the Star Wars universe isn't a cruel place. The Sith are basically evil wizards who love genocide and blowing up planets, but it's nowhere near as bad as the Elder Scrolls. The latter universe has its fair share of cannibalism, patricide and matricide, ancient blood rituals, necromancy, and plenty of creatures who exist solely to rip you to shreds just to watch you bleed. Star Wars mostly steers clear of that stuff, which makes it a more desirable destination for green fantasy heroes such as Luke Skywalker, who went from farm boy to savior of the galaxy in the span of 2 hours and 1 shoddy lightsaber lesson. But if Luke had walked in the land of Tamriel, well, he probably would have met a very different fate. That's according to an Easter egg found in Bleak Coast Cave in the frozen north of Skyrim. If you travel into the cave, which is home to 4 frost trolls, you'll find quite a few skeletons littered around the place, including a gruesome torso hanging upside down, a few feet away from a sword. Yes, in this version of Luke's famous Hoth scene in The Empire Strikes Back, he wasn't able to get his sword fast enough. Instead, the trolls feasted happily on every last inch of his flesh. Talk about a great disturbance in the Force. Yeesh.